Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Leo Season Collective Message. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. Now, I felt the need to do a collective reading for this season, I think because I resonate specifically so much with the energy of Leo. As I shuffle the cards here, I'm just going to kind of describe to you my take on the energy of Leo and why I think it's important for us really to grasp the energy of this season to really help kind of catapult us into the second half of the year here. So Leo season is really all about tapping into the energy of love. It is a sign that is ruled by the heart, not specifically emotions, but the heart. So there's a difference with Leo and let's say Cancer. So we're moving from a Cancer season, which is all about focusing on our emotions. The Cancer's motto in the world of astrology is I feel. But now we're moving into Leo. And the interesting thing about Leo is even though it is ruled by the sun and it is focused on the heart, that there is a quality to Leo that is all about courage and leadership. So Leo's motto in the tarot is I lead. And we each are finding, I think, the courage this year to really tap into our heart, what we love, who we love, and how we love to be able to better empower us to lead authentically. And this is really important as we move into the second half of the season, and specifically as we move over the next 2 years, as we go towards 2024, which is a really kind of powerful year. It's kind of the beginning of a new era if we look at it astrology or astrologically, as well as just the energy in general. I'm not going to get into detail here about that because technically I am not an astrologer. I do like to dabble in these things, but I am more of a tarot reader and a numerologist first. So aside from how the numbers line up as well, it's very interesting. We are experiencing in the US, which is where I live, a Pluto return. Pluto takes about 248 years to navigate around the sun. And we are coming into 246 years since the signing of our Constitution into being. And from there, in another 2 years, really Pluto will have done the full navigational rotation, which takes us into 2024. Now, Pluto is a energy in the world of astrology that really brings about change through kind of going into those deep, dark places that we need to review and take a look at so we can bring it out into the light of day, which is what Leo is all about. Leo is the illuminator. Again, Leo is the only sign ruled by the sun. So it's harnessing that energy of light, of love, and illumination. And this is really important as we kind of do a little bit of this battle with Pluto, this kind of cleansing. We're here to see the truth of things. And it's very easy to see the truth when we are coming from the energy of love. Specifically, again, how we love ourselves, how we can then bring that out to love others, and how we can lead from a place of love. And I really think that's what's going to be taking us into the new era. So that's why I felt kind of called to do a collective for all of us. So this is really an overarching message coming across here where we're going to be looking at kind of what we are as a collective facing for Leo season, which really starts on the 21st and goes all the way into the same date in August. So let's go ahead here. So we have the devil coming out right off the bat. Now, the devil's not necessarily a bad energy. It's a card that really speaks to the energy of Capricorn, of learning how to do hard work. But it's also a card where we realize what has been holding ourselves back, where we have been holding ourselves back, not a third party, not the devil. The devil's an illusion. It's where we have decided to take something we love and we have chained ourselves to it to a point where it has now become a burden for us. It's preventing us from moving forward in a positive way. So it's interesting that that came out here. And I think for all of us to really be empowered to lead in our lives, we have to take a look at those things that hold us back. And myself included, we're all going through this together. So it's not a negative thing. Again, illumination is a very powerful tool. That's why I have it as part of the name of my company, because illumination is something we should all be looking for at all times in our lives. That point of what is the truth? What are we missing? And how can we really step up into the light? Okay, so I'm doing this reading very similar to how I do the readings for the individual signs each month. So we're taking a look at kind of what we're all as a collective bringing into Leo season. And this is really harnessing, again, that energy of Capricorn, that energy of looking at where we really need to put in the hard work to free ourselves from something that has been holding ourselves back from really stepping up into empowered leadership. Now, in the external environment, this is something where this month and moving into August, we might be looking at something that has become a disappointment for us, something that we had to let go, something that on an emotional level we had committed to, with the Five of Cups coming up here. And there's this point of what I love about this card is there's a chance always for us to take a look at what didn't work out for us. Something, again, that we had emotionally invested in, wanted to work out, whether this was, getting in with a new friend group, whether this was starting a business, whether this was jumping into a relationship. And even though it didn't work out, we have the opportunity with the Two Cups standing upright to try again, to actually turn around and be able to find those who are there to support us on an equal footing. And that's what the Two of Cups represents. So this card harnesses the energy of both the Three of Cups and the Two of Cups. And with the Seven of Cups coming up here, this is a month of realizing, I think, it's a beautiful energy of realizing the truth around where we've all been holding ourselves back from going out with our cup, which is actually our love. It's the Ace of Cups is a gift of divine unconditional love from wherever you choose to call it, be it God, be it the universe, be it just our collective experience as being part of everything. But there's something here around the energy of us understanding that although things don't work out at times, we can't hold ourselves back from going back out and trying again. And with the Nine of Pentacles and the King of Swords, this is one where we have maybe gotten to a certain level of independence or comfort, but it can also be a comfort zone. And with the King of Swords coming up, there's a truth coming through, a reality check on us where we are realizing we've kind of been holding ourselves back in this safety bubble. And possibly that's what has become the devil for us, that we had focused so long on creating something for ourselves. And yes, we did receive something back from that. We have a level of stability in some aspect of our life, but we're still focused on something that is outside of this part of our experience. So this could be like where maybe you've been working really hard to get financially stable and you finally are, and maybe have been for some time, but your love life has faltered, or the family you were hoping to have has not come to be, or vice versa. Your home life is blooming and it's wonderful and it's a safe, secure place, but your work life is not where you'd want it, or you don't feel inspired on a creative level. So this is kind of that hard truth of being able to see what we have accomplished and being proud of that, and understanding that there is some aspect of each one of our lives that is abundant. But now it's time with the Seven of Cups to kind of go back out there and get into that place of there are so many more options to engage our cup, our love, who we are uniquely as an individual with the cups of others. Yes, three might have spilled, but we still have one for ourselves, one for another, and we're entering into kind of the world of possibility. And that's why we're really being challenged, I think, as a collective to really free ourselves, to get to that place of that internal autonomy where we're not being held back by addictions or by fear or by possibly codependent relationships, things along that nature, where we're getting to that point where we're able to bring the illumination quality of Leo, kind of shining, using the sun to shine on ourselves, using Pluto that's also coming back in to kind of dredge up what's been kind of sitting at the bottom of our spiritual pool, so to speak, or what's in our cup, and getting rid of some of that stuff to be able to say, here's my cup. It's clean. It's pure. I understand what's in it. The cup of all my needs, wants, and dreams. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to share it openly. And I'm going to see the world as full of opportunity for me to connect with others in my purest form. And I'm going to let the 3 cups lie that didn't work out the last time. But there is an element of being the King of Swords, of really understanding that there is an aspect that we can be grateful for in our life, be it that we do have a wonderfully supportive partner, or we have loving children in our life, or we have a work environment that we're very passionate about. There's always going to be that little something, or we live in a place where we're able to go out and go hiking every day and make use of Mother Nature. And whatever it is, it's something that is on a level of abundance for ourselves that we're being asked to be grateful for, but we're also being asked to realize where perhaps we have been also kind of clinging to that and holding ourselves back in other areas. And it's time to go out with that full heart-centered leadership capability or quality, but learning to love, breaking the chains that bind us through learning to love ourselves, and also going out openly to see who we can connect with on an equal footing, who's also in that same place. This is actually very, for those of you who are listening to this and are really ready to do the work this month and moving into August, this is going to be a really powerful and I would say catalytic time for all of us. It's kind of like getting to that point where we are able to almost do like the spring cleaning, but on a spiritual level for ourselves, to get us ready for the opportunities that are coming in for each one of us. And again, that will be totally different for everybody. Okay, so let's see what came out here. So we're all being challenged to step into this high priestess energy. The high priestess is when we know. It's that kind of harnessing the energy of when we know, we know. And that can be hard with the 9 of Swords coming in right after that, because there is an element of we know there's a part of our experience that we have to release that's been holding ourselves back. And that can bring about worry. You know, it's the what if. What if I have to turn my back on, you know, me drinking 2 glasses of wine every night? Or what if I have to turn my back on maybe separating myself from an individual that I have a codependent relationship with? Or I know I need to leave this work environment because although it gives me the stability I need, it's not making me happy. And I know I can connect out there with others. I can find something that will emotionally fulfill me in a different way, in a way that's going to honor my cup and the love that I have for myself. Now, in the middle of this, this is at the heart of our reading. So this is what we're each asked to really take a look at and embrace to help us move through this beautiful energy. It's the 3 of Pentacles. This is the energy of building, of what we want to build. What is our vision for our future from this point? And who do we want to build it with? This is also the energy of community building. You can see there's 3 different individuals, each doing something to build this, whatever is going to be built. And it's a reminder that no one builds anything alone in this experience. You know, even if you are a independent business owner, you still have to connect with clients who are going to help you build your business. You're still going to have to maybe connect with somebody who will create your website for you. You have to connect with creative people or people who will do your taxes at a certain point in the year. So there's always this element of understanding we have to connect with others to build anything in our lives, including a home life. So if, there can be this point where maybe we feel like I'm going to have to do it all myself. But there's always going to be somebody around you, whether it's neighbors, whether it's friends, whether it's a significant other, is going to help you accomplish that. So this is really kind of getting us back to a grounded, earthy quality with the pentacles of what do you physically want to create, so that then you can go out to find the emotional connection through opportunities. The Ten of Swords and the Eight of Cups come in after this. The Ten of Swords is the final closeout of a period where we felt that we were at our lowest point. This is that moment of release. And you can see here there's a ray of light coming through and the sun behind him, and there's the illumination coming through. And that's the whole point of going through the 10 card sword cycle, is that we understand what we're capable of. And when we get to that lowest point and we rise up again, we start with the Ace of Swords again. We start the cycle anew. And that Ace of Swords is our new truth. We understand what we're capable of after going through this cycle. We also understand what we can survive and what we won't do again. So it's our ability to use the illumination to then see the way forward. And it's a beautiful closeout. It's a harsh energy. It's a hard place to go when we think about, sometimes again, what we've lost, what we regret. Maybe we regret getting into that relationship and letting it get to that point, or we regret spending so much time going to school, chasing after a career goal that we then realized we don't actually enjoy working in. There's all kinds of things that we can, at a certain point, look at as, wow, I wasted time. But this is the reminder that time for each one of us it can be tiny. It depends on how you look at it in the grand scheme of things. In the grand scheme of the creation of the universe, our lives, even if we live a healthy long life to be 100 years or more, that's just like a blip in the radar of the bazillions of years that this universe will continue to be around and has been up to this point. So we have to understand that time is all relative, that we have each day that goes by, we have the potential and the opportunities to enjoy our life, to grow, to further our potential, and to really unlock the beautiful things that we uniquely bring to our situation that also are a part of the collective experience, because we each, as I was just kind of saying, no one's an island. We all build something together. So whether you're creating a business or you're running a household, whatever you do touches the lives of others. And that's a reminder here that when we think about it like that, the happier we are and the more loving we are to ourselves, and the more loving we are to our uniqueness, and the more loving we are to loving the dream that we want specifically for ourselves, the more we elevate the collective experience. The freer each one of us is, the more somebody else doesn't have to work to free us, if that makes sense, because we get to just live in a free, autonomous state, and then they can focus on themselves to do the same. Now, what's beautiful after this 10 of Swords, which is a clarity, the closeout of a cycle, a new truth, illumination, we get to the 8 of Cups, and this is where we have to face that hard reality that there's something that we are no longer emotionally invested in, and it's time for us to move on. It's time for us to go out into the world of opportunity, to see what else is out there for us to engage ourselves with. And it's a tough energy, because it's one where we, on a certain level, we know that is the high priestess. We know instinctually what it's time to walk away from, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a career path, whether it's just moving from one job environment to another job environment. Or this could be where we've been maybe working on a creative endeavor and it's gone nowhere. And even though we've put time and energy and all this emotional investment, this is 8 cups full of our emotional investment. We've been pouring from our 1 cup into 8 cups. So we look at it and say, but I know it doesn't actually fulfill me. It doesn't bring me any excitement anymore. It doesn't bring me any joy. But we can get stuck in a place where we're afraid to walk away because we remember where we were disappointed previously. We remember where something didn't work out. And there's this element of like, well, it's better just to stay here because I could try again and be disappointed. And this is saying, no, We're being prepared, each one of us, for fresh opportunities to come in for those of us who are really willing to do the work and to free ourselves to go back out there to see what's waiting for us. There is a level of emotional fulfillment that we will never get to if we stay with the Eight of Cups, because there's 2 more cups out there to get us to the 10 of Cups, which is really experiencing, it's our ability to touch on an emotional level what it would feel like to live our version of heaven on earth. And you have to leave the Eight of Cups to go out in search of the Two of Cups. And if you notice, the Two of Cups are right behind him. That is equal, supportive partnership. And sometimes we have to leave what seemed great on paper at one point to go out there to connect on a higher level with others to allow us to take use of these opportunities to level up. And this is where maybe we will go out there and we have to leave one relationship behind, but we will find the next relationship that elevates our entire experience. Or this is where we leave one career path behind and we go out there and realize that there's another career path that is more suited to elevating each one of our entire experiences, whatever it be. This could be even moving geographically to a new location that then you connect better with the people in the environment so that, again, it elevates your entire experience and you see the world full of possibilities again. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull, like I normally do, 3 additional cards down here for the concepts of curiosity, courage, and contemplation. So this first card here is where Spirit would like us to stay open and curious for the entire Leo season, because this is where when we can kind of open ourselves up to being curious and really ask ourselves this question, this is where something that we normally would not have seen or had that point of illumination is able to come in for us. It's also where I like to say we open ourselves up to the miracles that are waiting for us in our life. It keeps us curious, optimistic. We're looking down the road and we want to know what's around the bend. We're optimistically curious about what that's going to be. And oftentimes it is that miracle. It is that one last time you decide to go out on a date and that ends up being the love of your life. It's the one last time you go on and apply through LinkedIn for a new job, and that's the person that ends up hiring you. It's one of those things where it's like it keeps us curious. What if I do just one more thing? What if I take just one more step? What's waiting for me down the road? Oh, beautiful. We have man holding a heart. So we don't have to sit here and specifically make this, gender oriented. This is just showing that we're each holding a heart. And I think it's beautiful for Leo season, because when you think about it, this is each one of us. This is Leo. Each one of us is holding a heart. And we have to remember that as much as we have a heart that can be wounded and is vulnerable, and we love certain things, including ourselves and others, each one of us has the same. Each one of us has a beating heart that can be wounded, can be vulnerable, that wants to be loved as much as ours. And there is a quality here that I'm really feeling come through of just that cathartic element of being seen for who we are, being seen for who we are and being loved because of it unconditionally. So really where we can be curious this month about the energy of love, about where can we open ourselves up to sharing more of who we are vulnerably, of what we love about ourselves, and possibly the parts of ourselves that we might hide. We might hide because of what we're chained ourselves to. Or we might not want to put out vulnerably because we don't want that part of ourselves to be hurt. Where can we open ourselves up to literally kind of be like this individual? We're holding our heart out there and saying, this is what I love. This is who I love. This is how I love. And where can we then have the same perspective towards others? Where we see them and they make, again, we're living in kind of a tumultuous time, and it's hard to see through to the core of someone, through to the core of their heart, of really who they are. And again, what through the energy of love kind of makes them tick, makes them a unique individual as much as we are a unique individual. That, somebody could be very angry and getting into arguments with you, or you see somebody on the news shouting and, protesting something that you maybe feel the opposite about. But there's this element of being able to see through to this vulnerable aspect of that person, seeing through to each one of us has a purpose. We are all meant to be here. We are all equal in that. We are all equal in our innate freedom to be an autonomous being and to experience life in the way that we choose to experience life. And where can we openly see that in others, that no matter where somebody is on their journey, they may be 25 steps behind you. Maybe you've done all of the work to get to the point where you are now, where you don't maybe have violent, angry outbursts, or you realize it's not healthy for you to get into these conversations, or maybe it is, and you now have a much stronger way of communicating who you are and what you love about life, or just navigating other people's kind of emotional, what I would call triggers. But either way, it's the ability to understand that each one of us is on a path. We are all in different places. Our paths, although they all lead to the same final destination, before that point, each one of our paths leads to our own ability to touch that experience of heaven on earth. And that, again, is different for each one of us. So we each have that ability to get to that place and experience it in a way that is unique to us. So we have to honor people's different paths towards what they feel called to create for themselves. It's a very beautiful energy. I'm glad it came out. I'm very curious now to see what's going to come out for courage, since, again, we're working with Leo's energy, and it is about the courage to lead in your life. This is about loving others, but also not putting yourself second. This is not about, through the energy of love, becoming a martyr to a certain extent. This is about stepping up into your power. Sometimes even the martyrs that we look at in our historical look back at human history, there are martyrs in almost every culture and in every kind of tumultuous time period. Those martyrs were doing something that they felt was leading others forward, was showing others a doorway to something better, something that would elevate their experience. They were often giving their lives to be able to open the door of illumination. And that's not chaining yourself to others who would then use you, or unfortunately in the past maybe kill you, to stop you from being able to illuminate this. Instead, it's one of those things where they freed themselves fully from ties to even their own mortality, to really be able to express their passion, to be able to express what they saw, and to be able to step up into that faith and love for all of humanity on an equal basis, to say, if everyone could just see this, how much it would elevate the entire collective experience. And I'm willing to open the door and get burned by the light of illumination. So keep that in mind. When we think of leadership and we think of martyrdom, martyrdom doesn't have to be chaining ourselves to something. And I'm not saying that we have to go out there and literally give our lives for something. What I'm saying is that sometimes leadership is hard. It can be difficult to share a truth that we know we understand, and just understanding through who we are, what we love, what we see, the studies we've taken, the things that we uniquely know and want to share with others. But that leadership needs to come from that place of loving ourselves and loving others so much that we are willing to elevate our experience, but free ourselves from what chains us, through that energy of love, and that I just want to share this part of myself with others. And I know that this is a part of myself that actually is meant to help others. And if everybody was like that, we'd live in a very different world. We'd live in a world that really didn't have a lot of fear. We would be stepping more into a world that is elevated through the energy of love, because people would just be wanting to constantly share from that space, share from how it would almost be like people letting go of the fear of stepping up into leadership, because they understood that where they could lead uniquely was truly meant to be. Whether that's becoming a manager and a mentor to others in a work environment where you elevate someone else's experience, whether that's becoming a teacher, whether that's becoming a parent, where you get to lead another generation, you get to help one aspect of elevating one person's experience to be able to really move forward into the next generation to be a healthy individual and to then go on and do the same. Or this could be where you lead through sharing your creativity, and just in sharing that, which can be a very vulnerable and kind of scary experience, that you elevate, even if only 5 people see your work and are truly moved to the point that it shifts their entire experience. You've done something amazing. You've led. And that's where we can really use, again, the energy of love to mitigate the energy of fear. Surrender procrastination. It says now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Taking action will attract success. Yeah, it will. We can't procrastinate in where we want to lead. This is getting ourselves into that point of that kind of lion-hearted courage to be able to free ourselves. We cannot procrastinate on where we need to break those chains, and we cannot procrastinate on really admitting to ourselves what we want to build for ourselves and where we need to walk away from something to walk towards the opportunities waiting for us. That's really the potential that lies in this next month for all of us. And again, as I was saying, it's a beautiful catalytic moment, because if we each can go in through this place of kind of this healing, loving portal and come out the other side, the energy is going to pick up. And it's going to be a positive flow of energy forward, an illuminated and illuminating energy moving forward. Okay, so for a final point here, I'm going to pull a card for the concept of contemplation. And this is a final point of reflection that Spirit would like us to keep in mind throughout Leo season, to really underscore why it's time for us to kind of do the hard work of freeing ourselves, as well as stepping up into a place of empowered leadership. So we have 2 cards. We have Mirror, who or what is triggering you, and we have the Great Gathering. It's all coming together, intuitive hits, soul tribe. This is, I know this actually, this card kind of mirrors, or it kind of triggers some people. I actually love this card, this Mirror card, because usually what we're triggered by in our life is something that we either know we've been procrastinating on changing. This could be where somebody brings up, yeah, it's not good for me to drink the 2 glasses of wine every night anymore. Now I've decided to do, an hour of yoga and I meditate. And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, but I don't have the time to meditate. I don't have the time to do yoga. And I need those 2 glasses to just wind down. And it's like, and when we start to feel like that, that's that point where you realize, okay, I'm being triggered because I know, because I know that's my weak spot. And I know that's something that's keeping me back from really feeling in flow. It can be the same thing where you see somebody, maybe on the news who is arguing a point and it doesn't agree with yours. And you sit there and you get triggered by that, and you realize it's because you want to argue the opposite point, and you're as equally passionate as that other individual about sharing your perspective. And that's where we can kind of get to that place of realizing sometimes that's where we need to let go the most, or that's where we actually need to lead. Maybe your voice does need to be heard in that realm. And where you're feeling frustrated continually is that you maybe have the time to go out there and share your opinion, or to speak on a topic that maybe you feel the other side needs to be heard, or you can write a book, or you could submit an opinion piece. There's all kinds of ways for us to be able to feel like our perspective and our opinion matter and are heard, but we can't sit back in silence and just watch somebody else and kind of yell at the TV or get mad at somebody who decides to speak up when we are not the ones to speak up first. So keep that in mind. Whatever's triggering you is going to be that kind of that ability to see where you've been holding yourself back, and that ability to understand also where you can bring in the energy of love to mitigate that trigger point, to realize, no, that person has as much a right as I do to say the things that they're saying, because they see the opposite side. And just like one of the main tenets to our understanding of our current experience is that the universe tends towards balance. For everything that is expanding, there is something contracting. For everything that there is large, there is something equally tiny. It's just the element that balance is always kind of shifting. There's always something that's it may take millions of years, but everything ultimately is being balanced. And so there is that element of understanding that whatever's triggering you is either A, showing you where you need to release yourself and make a major change, or B, where you need to realize that they're the other side of the coin, or that person's experience, or whatever you're seeing over there, you don't have to worry about it. You can simply just love yourself and focus on leading where you need to lead, and let that other, it's almost like kind of like staying in your lane. There's an element here about that. And then the great gathering. It's all coming together. Intuitive hits, soul tribe. I love that. This is really kind of bringing in that energy of saying it is all coming together. There's something here where if each one of us really harnesses the energy of, again, freeing ourselves from something that is holding us back from moving forward and leading in a way that we can lead, only we can lead in a unique way, that the opportunities are coming in to really find that soul tribe, to really find those people who are going to be with us through the next era, through the next leg of our journey. And that's where the opportunity is coming in. So it's a month of really getting out there, of freeing ourselves, of loving ourselves, of taking the action and knowing where we need to take action to free ourselves, to express ourselves and our love, and to hold ourselves open and vulnerable, and to allow others to do the same, and to mitigate fear around leadership through the energy of love, to understand that your opinion matters, where you need to lead matters, and probably more now so than ever as we are moving into a new era, a change. A big catalyst for change is if we can all step up into empowered, loving leadership. All right, everyone, I'm going to leave it here. I think this is going to be a powerful couple of months, or a month split over 2 months. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I know I have. I know I have a lot to think about and get ready to take action on. And I hope you all do the same. And I will see you all in August for the individual sign readings as well. If you'd like to book a personal reading or just learn more about me and the services I offer, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, have a wonderfully loving, empowering, and month filled with true freedom. Bye, everyone.